Right now, as you sit here, your body is running a countdown you were never meant to see. Your cells are keeping score, your organs are filing reports, and somewhere deep inside your chest, a clock is ticking toward a number that your conscious mind will never be allowed to know. But your body already knows it. It knew before you woke up this morning. Here's the part that should unsettle you. Your body doesn't just age, it prepares. It begins shutting down systems, rerouting energy, and rehearsing death, months, sometimes years before anything shows up on a blood test or a scan. And the evidence for this is not fringe science. It is some of the most disturbing research published in the last 15 years. And it changes what you think dying actually is. Let's start with something you've probably never heard of. In 2008, a team of researchers at the Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, Utah, led by cardiologist Benjamin Horne, published a study tracking over 60,000 patients. They weren't looking for disease, they were looking for a pattern, and they found one. A set of 14 biomarkers in the blood, proteins, hormones, metabolic waste products, that, when measured together, could predict whether a person would die within the next 5 years. Not from any specific disease, just death. From anything. They called it a mortality signature. Your blood, it turns out, knows the ending before the story gets there. Think about what that means. It means your body is not passively decaying, it is actively tracking its own expiration. And it's doing it with a precision that makes modern medicine look like guesswork. But that was just the beginning. In 2014, a group of researchers at Yale, led by biostatistician Morgan Levine, refined this idea further. They developed something called phenotypic age, a way to measure how old your body thinks it is, regardless of your calendar age. Two people born on the same day in the same city could have phenotypic ages 10 or 15 years apart. And the person whose body believed it was older died sooner, almost without exception. Your body wasn't guessing, it was reporting. The cells in your liver, your kidneys, your immune system, they had already done the math. And here's the micro fact that makes this personal. You have roughly 37.2 trillion cells, and every single one of them contains a structure called a telomere, a small cap of repetitive DNA at the end of each chromosome, like the plastic tip on a shoelace. Every time a cell divides, the telomere gets a little shorter. When it gets too short, the cell stops dividing. It enters a state called senescence. It doesn't die, it just stops. And it starts sending out chemical signals, inflammatory molecules, distress calls that tell the cells around it, something is ending. Elizabeth Blackburn won the Nobel Prize in 2009 for discovering the enzyme that maintains telomeres. But the uncomfortable truth she uncovered wasn't about maintenance. It was about inevitability. The system isn't designed to last. It's designed to count. Your body is a clock made of flesh, and every organ is reading the same dial. But there's another layer to this, and it might be the strangest part of all. In 2019, scientists at the Salk Institute in La Jolla, California, published research in the journal Nature that demonstrated something eerie. As organisms approach death, and this was studied in mice, in worms, even in yeast, gene expression changes dramatically in the final weeks. Not randomly, in a coordinated pattern. Hundreds of genes that had been silent for the organism's entire life suddenly switched on. Others, active for decades, went dark. It was as if the genome itself was executing a final program, a shutdown sequence. The researchers described it as a transcriptomic signature of dying. Your DNA doesn't just carry the instructions for building you, it carries the instructions for unbuilding you, and it knows when to start. This is not gradual decline, this is orchestration. And here's what makes it worse. You can feel it. Not consciously, not in words, but your body communicates its internal state to your brain in ways your awareness never touches. There's a concept in neuroscience called interoception, your brain's ability to sense the internal condition of your body. Heart rate, gut tension, blood chemistry, temperature shifts. Most of this processing happens below conscious thought in the insular cortex in the brainstem. You never get the report, but your behavior changes anyway. Studies from the University of Sussex, published in 2016 by neuroscientist Hugo Critchley, showed that people with declining interoceptive signals, people whose bodies were sending weaker and weaker internal reports, made different decisions. They took fewer risks, they ate differently, they slept differently. Their bodies were whispering something to their brains, and their brains were listening, even though the person had no idea a conversation was happening. You've seen this. You've seen it in people who are dying, the way they start giving things away, the way they make phone calls they've been putting off for years, the way they grow calm. Doctors and hospice nurses have a phrase for it: terminal lucidity. In the days or hours before death, some patients who have been unresponsive, people deep in dementia, in coma, in confusion, suddenly wake up. They speak clearly, they recognize family, they say goodbye, and then they die. A 2012 case study by Michael Nahm at the University of Freiburg cataloged over 80 documented cases of terminal lucidity, some in patients who hadn't spoken in years. Their brains somehow knew. The final program was running. And for one brief window, consciousness was invited to witness the ending. And here's where it gets personal. You carry this architecture inside you right now. The countdown is not future tense. Your telomeres shortened while you listened to that last paragraph. Your senescent cells sent another round of inflammatory signals. Your interoceptive system just completed a scan of your cardiovascular function and filed the results somewhere you will never access. You don't feel it. You don't know the number. But the machinery is running. It has been running since the day you were born. There's a term in biology for organisms that don't seem to age: negligible senescence. Certain species of tortoise, some rockfish, a handful of clam species, the ocean quahog clam has been aged at over 500 years. Its cells just keep dividing. Its telomeres barely shorten. It doesn't run the program. And for a long time, scientists thought humans might be able to hack their way into that category. But the research keeps pointing in the opposite direction. In 2016, geneticists Jan Veg and Xiao Dong at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York published a paper in Nature arguing that human lifespan has a hard ceiling, roughly 115 years, and that we hit it in the 1990s. We haven't broken it since. The body has a limit, and the body knows exactly where it is. The word deadline originally had nothing to do with time. During the American Civil War, it referred to a physical line drawn around a prison camp. Cross it, and the guards would shoot. The line was invisible to anyone who didn't know it was there, but the consequences were absolute. That is your body. The line is drawn. You cannot see it. And every system inside you is measuring the distance to it in real time. There is a strange comfort buried inside this. If your body is preparing, then death is not an ambush. It is a process your cells have rehearsed. The shutdown is not chaos. It is choreography. Your body knows the steps. It has always known. The fear you carry is the fear of the conscious mind, the only part of you that was never told the plan. Tonight, when you lie in bed and feel your heartbeat in your chest, consider what it's actually doing. It is not just pumping blood, it is counting. It has been counting since the moment it first contracted in your mother's body, roughly 22 days after conception, before you had eyes, before you had fingers, before you had a brain that could wonder about any of this. That heartbeat is the oldest clock you own, and it is the one clock in your life that knows exactly when it will stop. Your body has always known, it just never thought you needed to.